In this video, I'm going to be discussing how I'm currently assembling my first aid kits for EDC purposes, for bug out bags, and even our vehicles using hospital grade supplies, all done in bulk. Let's get started. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Cliff, also known as the Urban Prepper, and on this channel, we focus on the topic of urban emergency preparedness. Over the past several years, I've been creating these first aid kits for all of my various prepping kits. So things like bug out bags, get home bags, evacuation kits, my urban EDC backpack, which we featured recently, also in my vehicle. You want to have first aid kits in a lot of different places. The problem with getting store-bought first aid kits is that oftentimes they're filled with a lot of stuff that you don't really need, or it's just kind of a waste of money. It has a lot of gauze in it, for example, and gauze is very cheap in addition to other medications. And I felt that I could make my first aid kits a little bit better using hospital grade supplies. When you go to the hospital, they're not using grocery store style band-aids and gauze. They're using fancier stuff that you could get at medical supply stores. So things like Tegaderm and Steri-strips. And those are the supplies I wanted to include in my first aid kits. The problem with getting these supplies is that they're on the expensive side. So you have to get them in boxes in bulk, and the price does add up. So in this video, I'm going to be showing how I'm assembling my first aid kits in various tiers in bulk. Starting off with my EDC Mini Medi, I carry this in my pocket. And then for the first aid kits that I store in my backpacks, like my recent Urban EDC backpack, I prefer this size that has a little bit more capabilities. And then for places like in your vehicle, maybe in your home, or if you have a large bug out bag, you could go with a much larger first aid kit, which has even more supplies in it. So in this video, we're gonna be covering all of those supplies and we'll stage them out from EDC to backpack to the large size and beyond. There's a lot that's going to be covered in this video, so as always, I've created a PDF document. You can download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It's going to have a list of all the items that are going to be featured in this video. So you can just enjoy watching the video, and if you have any questions on some of the supplies that were discussed in this video, you can check out the PDF and take the link that'll take you right to where that supply is. Let's start off first by building up our medical supply surplus. What I do is go to Home Depot or Costco to pick up a large storage bin. I label mine first aid and have it in the color red, although any storage bin will do. This is where you're going to start putting all of the various medical supplies that you get. And once you get all the supplies that you want for your first aid kits, you can start assembling them in bulk. You'll also want to pick up a bunch of Ziploc bags at the grocery store. For my medical kits, I like using sandwich size bags, quart size bags, and gallon size bags. This helps me group bandages into various categories based off of their sizes, which helps with organization. I usually get the majority of my supplies off of Amazon.com. Some of these items jump up in price drastically, and on occasions I do get the generic version of it to help save on cost. With all of my first aid kits, I like storing them in red, zippered bags. So before getting going with your tiered first aid kit system, figure out how many first aid kits that you need at the moment. For example, you may need 2 Mini Medis, one for you and one for your spouse, 2 backpack size first aid kits, one for your EDC backpack and another for your bug out bag, and then maybe you need 2 larger size ones, one for your vehicle and one for your home. Once you have all of your bags and have acquired enough medical supplies, it's time to start building them in bulk. Let's start off first going through the supplies stored in my Mini Medi. I have a dedicated video for this already, so we'll go through these fairly quickly. The Mini Medi is a compact first aid kit for everyday carry designed for quick treatment of minor cuts, scrapes, and burns. It's small enough to fit in a pocket, purse, or fanny pack, and includes essential wound care items without unnecessary bulk. For the past several years, I've been using the Manhattan Portage coin purse for my Mini Medi storage pouch. It's made of Cordura fabric, has YKK zippers, and is built to last. This is where I carry a small set of bandages and dressings for everyday use. I carry several Band-Aid brand flexible fabric adhesive bandages, hydrocolloid gel bandages, 3M Steri-strip reinforced sterile skin closures. For wounds, I have Aquacel extra hydrofiber dressing, and to go with that, I use a few 3M Tegaderm transparent film dressings. For wound coverage, I have some bordered silicone adhesive foam dressing, and also some bordered hydrocolloid adhesive dressing. I also have a few different ointments. I usually have a couple triple antibiotic ointment packets. For minor burns, I like using Manuka honey, and for more serious burns, I've added the Water Gel First Aid Burn Cream. And last, I carry one Dude Wipe. While they say these are flushable, I don't use this for flushing purposes, but more for outdoor emergency situations, if you know what I mean. And those are all the items that are stored in the Mini Medi. Now let's go through more of the backpack style first aid kits, like the one that you saw recently in my Urban EDC backpack. Again, we already did a dedicated video on this, so let's go quickly. In my backpack-sized first aid kits, I like storing them in a red vinyl zipper bag made by Cardinal. I have a Ziploc bag filled with several Band-Aids, also more of those Hydro-Seal wound care bandages, Manuka honey for minor burns, burn gel for more serious burns, and I have several alcohol prep pads. I prefer the ones made by Curad, which maintain a lot of moisture. Next, I have a small Ziploc bag for small wound dressings. I have some 3M Steri-Strip skin closures, more of the Aquacel Extra 2x2 hydrofiber absorbent dressing, more Tegaderm, more of the bordered hydrocolloid dressing, and also more of the bordered silicone foam dressing. I also have a few Medi splinter out splinter removers, and I also store some sting relief ointment. Next, I have a Ziploc bag with larger wound size dressings. It's basically the same thing, but just a larger version. In the small one, they're 2x2, and in this one, they're 4x4 for the most part. So again, some Aquacel, Tegaderm, foam dressing, and that's about it. For wound closures and blood loss, I have a few additional items. I have one laceration kit, which is used in place of sutures. And I've also added some Bleed Stop first aid powder for blood clotting. Stored loosely inside of the red cardinal bag, I have one individually wrapped gauze roll, and I have one individually wrapped Z-folded compression sterile gauze. By the way, you could get all of these in bulk. The last few items are some ointments. I have some Neosporin, some bag balm, and lastly, I also have a 3M N95 respirator mask. And those are all of the items that I store in my backpack size first aid kits. Now let's start going through all the supplies in the larger first aid kit. I store this one in our vehicle. This comprehensive first aid kit is designed for home, office, vehicle, and outdoor emergencies. I've been storing mine in a Dixie EMS first responder bag, and it contains essential wound care, trauma supplies, and emergency tools for handling both minor injuries and serious medical situations. There's 2 side zippered pockets, and then 1 large compartment. Let's start off first by going through the side left pocket. I like storing more of the commonly used items in here in addition to some tools. As you may have expected, I have a Ziploc bag filled with Band-Aids, both the flexible fabric kind and the HydroSeal kind. I also have a Ziploc bag filled with individually wrapped over-the-counter medications for things like pain relief, cold and flu, upset stomachs, and more. Next, I have a Ziploc bag filled with prep pads and ointments. You've seen all of these already. So I have more of the Curad alcohol prep pads, more Manuka honey, and also some first aid burn cream. Also stored in that side pocket, I have some New Skin liquid bandage. This is a flexible seal for hard to cover places. I also have some Rapid Seal wound gel, which stops bleeding in seconds. I also have a tube of Neosporin, which includes lidocaine as well. For tools, I have some medical shears, a set of tweezers, and 1 Sharpie marker. And those are all the items stored in that side left pocket. Stored in the right pocket of the first aid kit, I have more of my individually wrapped rolled medical supplies. So I have a few individually wrapped gauze rolls. These are 4 inches by 4.1 yards. And I also have a few elastic bandage wraps. These are stretchable compression wraps for sprains and joint support, and could also be used to help wrap bandages. And those are all the items that are stored in that right pocket of the first aid kit. Now let's start going through the large compartment of the first aid kit. This stores the majority of the items. I'll go through a lot of these quickly since we've already covered them in the other kits. The first item being some nitrile gloves. I have several stored in a Ziploc bag. I have one 3M N95 respirator mask. Just like with the previous kit, I have a small wound care bag, a large wound care bag, and another laceration kit. It contains all of the same items that we've already discussed, so let's skip going through those again. Also included is one of those individually wrapped Z-folded compressed gauze made by Everlet Survival. Some NextCare durable cloth medical tape for securing dressings and splints. Now let's get on to some of the additional items that you haven't already seen. I have an Adventure Medical Kit's Dental Medic Kit. This is a compact little dental emergency kit with temporary fillings and pain relief. I also have one ankle support brace. This is an adjustable neoprene brace for stabilizing weak or injured ankles. Some Quick Clot Advanced Clotting Gauze. I also have a couple instant cold packs, which helps reduce swelling, fevers, temporary relief of headaches, or toothaches. I have more of the sting relief swabs for bee stings and bug bites. Next, I have a North American Rescue cat tourniquet. I have this one in the color orange. In my previous video, I had an EMT leave a comment saying, hey, we prefer the orange ones because they're a lot more visible. And I have mine pre-staged for quick deployment and also staggered to allow it to be easily open even if you're wearing gloves. For a backup tourniquet, I also have one SWAT T tourniquet, also in the color orange. This could be used as a tourniquet, pressure dressing, or an elastic bandage in emergency situations. I have one emergency Mylar thermal blanket. In an emergency, this could be used for heat retention and shock prevention. A North American Rescue high-fin vent chest seal. This is a 2-count for entry and exit wounds. An ever-ready first aid Israeli battle dressing compression bandage. All trauma kits should have at least one of these because they're so multi-purpose. One SAM splint, which is a lightweight, moldable splint for stabilizing fractures and sprains. And last, I have some eye wash. I have a 4-ounce bottle of eye wash solution. I don't want it to leak in here, so I left the wrapper on the top, although I did slice it up a little bit to make it easier to open. And to go along with it, I have a Dr. Jim glass eye wash cup for eye rinse. This is a reusable glass cup for rinsing and flushing out eye irritants. And those are all the items that I'm currently storing in my comprehensive first aid kit for home, office, vehicle, and outdoor emergencies. So as mentioned, I like doing these in bulk. So I'm not just making one backpack style kit and one vehicle kit. I'm at least making 2 of each. When you receive the individual medical supplies in bulk, they come in boxes, and I like just moving all of them over to large Ziploc bags and storing them in the large first aid storage bin. This helps maintain a medical supply surplus, which could be used for refills to the kits as they're used. I found this system to work well for my purposes. I like having high quality hospital grade supplies versus some of the items that you get in the low quality store-bought kits. By gradually expanding my medical supply surplus, I'm able to ensure that I have the right supplies for daily use, travel, bug-out bags, and emergency situations. I just want to be clear that I'm not a medical expert, nor am I providing medical advice. I'm just a regular person who values being prepared with an organized first aid system that includes supplies for everyday injuries, as well as trauma-related emergencies. I try to take a medical training course around every 18 months, either through my job or community organized programs, to stay informed on basic first aid and emergency response. That's going to do it for this video featuring how I'm currently assembling my first aid kits using hospital grade bandages in bulk for all of my various emergency preparedness kits. Please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comments section regarding this video. Also download the PDF document if you're interested in any of the specific items that were discussed in this video. And I'll see you next time for more videos featuring urban emergency preparedness. See you next time.